All right, we're back with another monthly review. Today I'm going to be going over every single album that I listened to in June. That's the month, right? Yep, that is it. There you go. That's the month. If you're new to this series, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over every single album that I listened to. I'm going to give a couple quick sentences about each album. Nothing super in-depth, just some quick thoughts. All right, let the reviewing begin. Vampire Weekend ventures into more experimental and electronic sounds with this album, but it does result in some less memorable songwriting and less earworm choruses. Father John Misty's powerful vocal presence and his witty lyrics carry an album that often feels derivative of Fleet Foxes in terms of the instrumentals, driven by some thick bass lines and some watery synth work. This album by Fana Hughes is a potent display of sensuality that often suffers from some half-baked songwriting. Man, a surprising amount of risks were taken on this album, and really little to none of them paid off. The vocal effects come across as awkward, the mix of kind of generic pop chords with abrasive and electronic production is unflattering, and the writing, while it is honest, it comes across as horribly cringe and cliche. I had high expectations for this one for how it was hyped up, but it just didn't do much for me. Lil Ugly Mane's venture into neo-psychedelia is a warm but haunting one. This whole album feels like a trapped memory desperately trying to come to life. Conway's top-notch flow and delivery on this project is ultimately weighed down by a lack of direction and some filler tracks. With its dejected vocals, ugly chords, and I mean ugly in the best way possible, and overall feeling of isolation, Duster's Stratosphere is easily the best slowcore album that I've heard. For the most part, Pinkerton takes itself less seriously than the Blue album and really does lean into kind of a goofy display of self-deprecating humor and this overall idea of faking it until you make it. Don't kill me, please, don't kill me. While D'Angelo's vocal talent is undeniable with this album, it just doesn't have enough variety to warrant its nearly 80-minute runtime. The conceptual focus and abstract lyricism of Black Star allows for Bowie to look at death through a nuanced lens and really dive into the otherworldly, personal, and societal aspects of death. Thom Yorke's ANIMA takes the best parts of Radiohead and presents it through a synth-based techno aesthetic. While the album definitely has some awkward and underwritten moments, it's a relatively unique and enjoyable experience. Even with the fact that a lot of his vocals are highly processed and almost alien in a way, Thom sounds as fantastic as he usually does. Overall, the project works as a somewhat ambient experience that you can lose yourself in, but also features just enough dense writing to make for a rewarding listen when giving it your full attention. I mean, this is pretty much just King Cruel by the numbers. If you want some spacey and dejected indie jams with some post-punk thrown in there as well, this is for you. It's definitely not as adventurous to me as his previous album, but it's still a pretty solid and cohesive listen. You guys probably saw it. I did a reaction video to this with my mother, and she described it as bittersweet, nostalgic, and authentic. And I feel like those words describe it pretty well. It does tend to get a bit repetitive, but overall, I feel like it's a pretty solid album for Taylor Swift, and it shows that she does make her best music, in my opinion, when she goes for a more stripped back acoustic and kind of folky sound. This was like the 5th album, I'm pretty sure, that these guys dropped in 2022. I don't know how they make consistently solid albums while also covering a pretty wide array of genres. It kind of is mind-blowing. This score might not reflect it. Like, I don't think this is a masterpiece or anything, but it's just a testament to how diverse their style can be. Cheat Codes shines because of Black Thought's sharp and deliberate flows, the simple but soulful and grand sample-based production, and really a track list that never lets up on the energy. Squid's Oh Monolith pulls from a wide array of influences and does a great job of combining the familiar with the abstract. Overall, Squid managed to make an extremely eclectic art punk album that won't be forgotten. Now, an album that will be forgotten, Gunna. A gift and a curse. I don't know what to say. For some reason, I continue to listen to Gunna albums, for some reason, and as you could expect, I continue to just get really nothing out of his music. The free-flowing, mystical, and airy aesthetic of You're Dead is often made less interesting by some mixing and recording quality that feels a little bit rough around the edges to my ears. Nonagon Infinity's high-octane riffs, mesmerizing repetitive passages, and unrelenting energy makes for one of the most well-crafted and stylistically unique rock albums I've heard in a long time. This thing's just full of cheesy songwriting, bombastic and bright production that I don't love, and the vocals can be occasionally kind of grating. Overall, it just feels like kind of an emotionally hollow indie pop record. Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots is a conceptually focused and creative album that really provides a satisfying personal story arc of a person finding what is truly meaningful in life. I mean, this one starts off strong, but it really quickly becomes one of the more bland Young Thug albums that I've heard. This is summary. It's cute. It's fun, but it is, to my ears, a little bit cheesy and just too cheesy for my tastes. Here you go, Fantano Core. There you go, Swans, giving us Swans a 9.5. Could I get any more predictable? Probably not. This is just another expansive and mind-bending masterpiece from the legendary band Swans. This album kind of does follow the same blueprint as their last 4 albums, but it does tone back the aggression and instead focuses on dense, highly detailed, and meditative soundscapes, while also incorporating some extremely strange and otherworldly sounds as well. This entire album is really a masterclass in restraint and patience, which makes the visceral and energetic grooves that occasionally show up even more exciting and even more rewarding. The fuzzy vocals, sporadic sample chops, and noisy atmosphere of this project mostly makes up for the somewhat underwhelming song structures. The Cold Nose is one of the most strange and unique listens I've had in a while. While not every idea here lands or feels fully fleshed out, the variety and sheer amount of unique ideas makes for a pretty intriguing listen. There you go. That is every single album that I listened to in June. Kind of a light month. Only 26 albums this month. I found it really hard to fit listening time into this month. But there you go. Those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if you disagree with any of these ratings. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.